No. Uh-oh. We haven't read anything. We're already giggling. Oh, God just dropped in even then.
Hmm.
Hmm. Who would like to begin this morning?
I will.
Okay.
Ooh.
See how far we get.
The spirit mind.
Mm. So we
Number,
are in paper six.
yep.
Six
Six
with
six one
one.
one.
Get to 666, that'll be good.
There aren't six paragraphs, Kevin. Sorry.
Hmm. The eternal Son is spirit and has mind, but not a mind or a spirit which mortal mind can comprehend.
Wow.
Mortal man perceives mind on a finite cosmic, material, and personal levels. Man also observes mind phenomena in living organisms functioning on the personal animal level, but it is difficult for him to grasp the nature of mind when associated with supermaterial beings and as a part of the exclusive spirit personalities. Mind must, however, be differently defined when it refers to the spirit level of existence, and when it is used to denote spirit functions of intelligence, and when it is used to denote spirit functions of intelligence. That kind of mind, which is directly allied with spirit, is comparable neither to that mind which coordinates spirit and matter, nor to that mind which is allied only with matter. I'll do one more.
Take it easy.
Spirit is ever conscious, minded, and possessed with of varied phases of identity. Hmm. Without mind, in some phase, there would be no spiritual consciousness in the fraternity of spirit beings. The equivalent of mind, the ability to know and be known, is indigenous to deity. Deity may be personal, pre-personal, superpersonal, or impersonal, but deity is never mindless. That is, never without the ability, at least, to communicate with similar entities, beings, or personalities.
Wow.
Ugh. Someone else can read.
Is deity to do with the capacity to create? Is that what it? Oh,
Deity,
if anyone knows, it's all right.
Yeah, I don't think we know.
Mm. I find
it
these
feels to me
questions.
deity like a beingness or a being. Like,
Deity is personalizable as God. Is pre-personal and superpersonal in ways not altogether comprehensible by man.
Yeah, same
It's
thing.
characterized by the quality of unity. Blah blah goes on. That's under the heading deity and divinity. I don't know when all these different things will sink in. These different descriptions.
It will come when we do the second read.
Okay.
10 years' time.
In 7 years' time.
Anyway.
The mind of the eternal Son is like that of the Father, but unlike any other mind in the universe. And with the mind of the Father, it is ancestor of the diverse and far-flung to the diverse and far-flung minds of conjunct creator. The mind of the Father and the Son, that intellect which is ancestral to the absolute mind of the third source and center, is perhaps best illustrated in a pre-mind of a thought adjuster, for though these father fragments are entirely outside of the mind circuits of the conjoined actor, they have some form of pre-mind. They know are as they are known. Hang on. They know as they are known. They enjoy the equivalent of a human thinking. Well, that was a bit of a gibberish there. I mean, for my mind to comprehend, I mean, I'm sure it's perfectly on the money. The eternal Son is wholly spiritual. Man is very nearly entirely material. That's an interesting sentence, huh? Man is very nearly entirely material. Therefore, much pertaining to the spirit personality of the eternal Son, to his 7 spiritual spheres and cycling paradise, and to the nature of the impersonal creations of the paradise Son, will have to wait to attain of spirit status following our completion of the Morontia ascension of the local universe of Nebadon. And then, as you pass through the super universe and on to Havana, many of these spirit concealed mysteries will clarify as you begin to endow the mind of the spirit, which is a spiritual insight.
Well, that's all right. We only have to wait until we pass through the super universe and onto Havana before we start to really understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's even longer. It's a bit longer than that.
That's like 10 years.
Well, it sort of takes the pressure off, though, doesn't it?
That long it takes.
There is a really good video. Some of you might have seen it, but you might understand it a bit better now on this journey all the way to the end. It's actually really beautifully done.
Can you post it, please?
Post it.
If you found it, if you know where it is. That'd be interesting.
It is really interesting. We could also watch it if you like.
Yeah.
It's like 10 minutes long, but it's exquisite.
I don't mind. Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, no.
No, that's all right. If you
Please.
guys want to watch it, I just
I,
love the reading.
I can read. I can
But
read later.
Yeah, we can read it. It's all right.
We'll read.
I'll send you the link. You can watch
Thank,
it. It's really beautiful.
okay,
I think I've already
that'll
sent
be good.
yeah.
because it's got this amazing graphics, and it kind of shows you the entire journey through the different phases.
Mm.
No, it's really brilliant.
I would like to see it.
Yeah. No,
Maybe
I'll,
not now.
I'll make sure it's
Not
there.
the 5 minute one, Cole, that we've seen with the planets and the bars and all that sort of stuff, or something else.
That's it. There's a lot of circles in comparison to the sun and the sizes of the whole thing. There's like these amazing spheres. And
I think we've all seen it.
I've seen that. Yeah.
yeah, but you might have a different, once you start reading these, you might see it differently again, you know? Like every time I watch it, I go like, oh God, it's really good anyway. I will also leave a link at the bottom of this video. So anybody who watches this can click on it and have a go at it.
Excellent.
Mhm. Number 7, personality of the eternal Son. The eternal Son is that infinite personality from whose unqualified personality fetters
Mm-hmm.
the universal Father, escaped by the technique of trinitization, and by virtue of which he has ever since continued to bestow himself in endless profusion upon his ever expanding universe of creators and creatures. It's a mouthful, hey?
Eternal
The
Son.
Son is absolute personality. God is Father personality, the source of personality, the bestower of personality, the cause of personality.
Mm.
Every every personal being derives personally from the universal Father, just as the original Son eternally derives his personality from the Paradise Father. Wow.
I find that first sentence really a bit strange. The eternal Son is that infinite personality from whose unqualified personality fetters the universal Father escaped.
Yeah. Escaped.
That's
I'm sure it will be explained one day later.
mm,
Mm.
probably, yeah.
Maybe that's where the mad idea began, with an escape. Of course, the miracles. I don't know.
Mm. The tiny made ideas, huh?
Yeah.
How tiny are your made ideas?
All consuming yesterday.
Exactly. Because each tiny made idea then invites another made idea, doesn't it?
Mm.
Next minute, you have a whole universe of ideas based on that tiny made idea, which happens daily if the mind doesn't get to ground itself. The personality of the Paradise Son is absolute and purely spiritual. And this absolute personality is also the divine and eternal pattern first, of the Father's bestowal of personality upon the conjoined actor, and subsequently, of his bestowal of personality upon the myriads of his creatures throughout a far-flung universe. The Eternal Son is truly a merciful minister and divine spirit and spiritual power and a real personality. The Son is the spiritual and personal nature of God made manifest to the universes, the sum and a substance of the first source and center, divested of all that which is non-personal, extra divine, extra divine, non-spiritual, and pure potential. But it is impossible to convey to the human mind a word picture of the beauty and grandeur of the supernatural personality of the eternal.
Supernal.
Thank you. Grandeur of the supernal personality of the eternal Son. Everything that tends to obscure the universal Father operates with almost equal influence to prevent the conceptual recognition of the eternal Son.
Mm.
You must wait your attainment of paradise, and then you will then you will understand why I was unable to portray the character of this absolute personality to the understanding of the finite mind.
I was. Is this Jesus talking?
Well,
No, oh, it's right.
no, I
Just
don't
a
think.
question that came up.
Yeah, it's true because when some form of awakening happens, it's always incomparable to anything we knew.
Mm.
You know, when the real light kicks in, you suddenly see, you go like, wow, I couldn't have possibly, like people have imagining some form of awakening of enlightenment. It's exactly not so at all. Like I had so many images of what that should look like, you know. And then when things happen, you just go, wow, I wouldn't have possibly, it's unimaginable. And I think this is what this is basically saying. That you can't be told about it, but you can experience it through what they call here the religious experience. We call it some form of awakening. And also that the awakening is continuum. It's not like you awake, but then you awake again, and then you awake again. I don't think it's just like a once, now I see.
Mm.
Well, there was that analogy of it's in some psychological, maybe philosophical, it's an idea of the people in the cave and all they can see is shadows on the wall because they're facing the wall of the cave. And it's not until they actually can turn away that they can get a different viewpoint.
Mm. Yeah.
It's just like we haven't known how to turn away to
Mm.
turn to something new. And there's, the religious ideas, and I know just within the Christian church, especially, I don't know, probably the same everywhere. It's very hypnotic. It's just, yeah.
I mean, the ideas are beautiful in there, except that they squeeze that kind of guilt into it and the kind of control.
the idolization of Jesus as the one and only Son of God, and that means that all of us are deficient, all the rest of us.
Yeah.
You know, in most of the churches, that's how they teach it. Not all of them, but
Mm. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
All right. Who is the next to read?
I'll read. Someone else. I didn't even get to read a word this time.
Oh, so good.
I said I get to read the title.
You now have a bug.
Yeah, bug.
Okay.
Oh, let me compose myself. Let me get rid of this noise so I can read. But that's what that is. Every time you see this, like, you see something, hey? You see like something lit up in you, and it just makes you, you don't even probably know why you're laughing, except this extreme joy comes up, right?
Yeah.
It's it. It's yeah. I remember my first one, I was laughing for 3 days. I just could not stop laughing because I could see that what God created and what I made and all of my efforts were just so ridiculous in a way.
I'm not even getting that. It's just like I just start laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's a perfect example of, the word becomes flesh, it becomes an experience. You don't end up comparing these sentences, but you rejoice, huh? Beautiful, Alison. Oh, you see how she look at look at her. She's like became like younger. You see that?
Mhm.
It's like this light just takes the ageless, it makes you ageless in a way.
Mm.
Mm, beautiful. And there is that think about it, basically. Oh, mm, oh, mm, oh, Mm. Ah, beautiful.
Yeah. Realization of the eternal Son.
Oh my God. Oh God. Ah, ah. Mm. Mm.
Have another go, eh?
Yeah, give it another go. If you fail, we'll get someone.
Someone else can. Yeah.
I like the word fail in this case. Like if you fail to stay.
Concerning identity, nature, and other attributes of personality.
Me.
Okay, Kim, maybe it's your turn. Or
Okay.
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin?
There you go, Kim.
Oh, okay. Concerning identity, nature, and other attributes of personality, the eternal Son is the full equal, the perfect complement, and the eternal counterpart of the universal Father.
Mm.
In the same sense that God is the universal Father, the Son is the universal Mother,
Wow.
Mm.
and all of us, high and low, constitute their universal family.
I love
To,
that they bring up this universal mother aspect into this.
mm, to appreciate the character of the Son, you should study the revelation of the divine character of the Father. They are forever and inseparably one. As divine personalities, they are virtually indistinguishable by the lower orders of intelligence. They are not so difficult of separate recognition by those whose origin is in the creative acts of the deities themselves. Beings of nativity in the central universe and on paradise, discern the Father and the Son not only as one personal unity of universal control, but also as two separate personalities functioning in definite domains of universe administration. As persons, you may conceive of the universal Father and the eternal Son as separate individuals, for they indeed are. But in the administration of the universes, they are so intertwined and interrelated that it is not always possible to distinguish between them. When, in the affairs of the universes, the Father and the Son are encountered in confusing interassociation, it is not always profitable to attempt to segregate their operations. Merely recall that God is the initiating thought and the Son is the expressionful word. In each local universe, this inseparability is personalized in the divinity of the Creator's Son, who stands for both Father and Son to the creatures of 10 million inhabited worlds.
Wow, how many?
10 million.
10 million. Just trying to comprehend that. Like 10 million inhabited worlds. Inhabited. Not just some planets spinning around, but inhabited.
The eternal Son is infinite, but he is approachable through the persons of his paradise sons and through the patient ministry of the infinite Spirit. Without the bestowal service of the paradise sons and the loving ministry of the creatures of the infinite Spirit, beings of material origin could hardly hope to attain the eternal Son. And it is equally true. With the help and guidance of this celestial agency, the God-conscious mortal will certainly attain paradise and sometime stand in the personal presence of the majestic Son of Sons.
Wow.
Shall I keep going or?
Why not?
Yeah.
Even though the eternal Son is the pattern of mortal personality attainment, you find it easier to grasp the reality of both the Father and the Spirit, because the Father is the actual bestower of your human personality, and the infinite Spirit is the absolute source of your mortal mind. But as you ascend in the paradise path of spiritual progression, the personality of the eternal Son will become increasingly real to you, and the reality of his infinitely spiritual mind will become more discernible to your progressively spiritualizing mind.
Beautiful.
Never can the concept of the eternal Son shine brightly in your material or subsequent morontial mind, not until you spiritize and commence your spirit ascension will the comprehension of the personality of the eternal Son begin to equal the vividness of your concept of the personality of the Creator Son of paradise origin, who, in person and as a person, one time incarnated and lived on URANTIA as a man among men.
That's Jesus.
Mm.
Wow.
The vividness of
That's a
your
beautiful
concept.
paragraph, eh?
Mm.
Do you mind reading that one again?
Yeah.
Please.
Beautiful.
Never can the concept of the eternal Son shine brightly in your material or subsequent morontial mind, not until you spiritize and commence your spirit ascension will the comprehension of the personality of the eternal Son begin to equal the vividness of your concept of the personality of the Creator Son of paradise origin, who, in person and as a person, one time incarnated and lived on URANTIA as a man among men.
That gives a really, actually, the word incarnated in here, when we were talking about incarnation, it's got slightly different meaning, hey? He incarnated himself.
Doesn't say
Just means comes into a body, doesn't it? Like it just experiences life in a body.
No, but it was when you listen or read the paper 119, it goes into a very thorough explanation of the whole journey that of this whole mission that Jesus had pre-incarnation. So it tells you everything that who he was, who he is, who and what was his mission here, and everything was written like he basically went and fulfilled it. Like that were things like, you will have no children, you will not write anything down. Like it was all written already, and then he just came and fulfilled it. Kevin, what's the smile? Kevin is having a thought.
Yeah.
No, just that he didn't write anything down, yet it was all written. Just sounded funny.
Yeah.
It was written it was
Yeah.
like, you will see when you listen to of
I'm
course.
listening to it right now, what you're talking about, exactly that.
Yeah, it was incredible to actually. I listened to the whole Jesus thing maybe 3 times in a row, and then one day I find out this 119. I'm going like, wow, it just really portrays him who he is.
When you say 119, what are you talking about? In
Paper,
like the
paper
first
119.
paper in the first section.
No. It's a paper 119. We are in a paper 6. There's
Yeah.
197 or 6 or 7 papers.
It's towards
And then
So it's right at the beginning of the book.
yeah, it's actually the last chapter of the 3rd book.
Oh, okay.
There are 4 books in here, and it's the last paper of the 3rd book. Definitely mind-blowing. But there could be lots of terminology in there that if you don't read all this, that terminology will be far-flung, far-fetched. it all falls into like the consistency of this is incredible. Just like a Course of Miracles, it's got this amazing consistency. Like it never goes against itself in any way. So is this. It's like so precisely mapped out that this really is the Bible of the new millennium. That what just we're just touching on it. What they call the fifth epochal revelation, URANTIA book. Bible was the fourth epochal revelation. Beautiful. Alison, did you want to see if we could read anything?
Oh, yeah, I think I probably can now.
Okay, let's see. We'll
Throughout your local universe experience, the Creator Son, whose personality is comprehensible by man, must compensate for your inability to grasp the full significance of the more exclusively spiritual, but nonetheless personal, eternal Son of Paradise.
Mm.
As you progress through Orvonton and Havona, as you leave behind you the vivid picture and deep memories of the Creator Son of your local universe.
Mm-hmm.
The vivid picture and deep memories. The passing of this material and Morontia experience will be compensated by ever enlarging concepts and intensifying comprehension of the eternal Son of Paradise.
Yes.
Whose reality and nearness will ever augment as you progress paradiseward.
Yes. This is so beautifully explained because this is, of course, a miracle does, right? It dislodges everything you made in this frequency. Yeah.
They're just really reassuring us we're going to understand more as we go.
Exactly. And then you go to the next one. And even that you're going to leave behind to enter the next one. And then even that you have to leave behind because you can't be that and move upward in a way, which is not in denial of something. It's like you've had enough experience to go like, okay, I've been there, done that. Let's move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
They say somewhere where you have here on earth, if you have an experience of God, you actually only just tapping to the next, to the morontial world.
Yeah.
Just going to your next step over momentarily. You know, you have a light has come, you have like boom, and you go, wow. And then you quickly shut down because you can't handle it in this type of body. This body cannot physically vibrate on such a frequency. It's very unpleasant for the body. That's why some of the experiences can really spin you. That's why they also have all these practices where you practice certain ways of being where you can handle this level of light. And not that light is awful, but if you're too dense, that's why the Course of Miracle constantly dislodges the mental structures and imagery that we made up based on the tiny made idea. And it gives us those momentarily revelations. Yeah.
It's amazing. I've just had this thought that, when Jesus was here, he was a man in the world. And that, when I was reading it, that was what this material body was set forth to do.
Yeah.
To be a good human, and helpful and kind and loving and with this stuff, we're trying to go to the next level.
Yep.
But this word is just like, live your life as well as you can.
Mm-hmm.
I've always rebelled against that and going, fuck this life. I'm just going to try to associate into the next realm by being, that enlightenment thing or.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't skip over it.
And,
yeah.
And I think got this like little revelation that's really important just to, like last few months actually, really important to live a good life. And I really rebel against that.
Mm-hmm.
Ego goes, fucking do what I fucking like.
Yeah.
Swearing, but.
But that's where I think the whole will work is so important, because I think in order to go up by leaving something behind, you haven't transformed it. Whereas when you go this way, that propels you further, but you're not in denial. You're not like bypassing something.
Yeah.
You fully hear, you fully feel, you feel everything to the most minute detail. Like suddenly you see through feelings.
Yeah.
On it talks about when we go to these Morontia worlds, there are schools of thought and there are schools of feeling.
Yeah.
Right? And they're equal. Whereas in this frequency, we are overpowering this particular mental acuity to the max. And we're leaving behind the heart, and we're definitely not tapping to the will.
Yeah, we're too advanced in the mind, and
yes, and that's why we have this imbalance. That's why the whole right use of will movement is just it's already, that's a school of feeling. Of course, because it's a school for the mind to reorganize your thought patterns. Right use of will is to get a map of this feeling realm, which is so hard to, in a way, define, and you can't even, like, the words cannot put label on it, because feelings can't be labeled. They're like flows and sounds and vibrations rather than some rigid thought forms. And only then the heart can be born, and that is just such a profound awakening, where the whole heart, when instead of powering this, you power your heart. Like I keep saying, when you drop in here and you stay there and you give as much attention as you've been giving to this, you begin to give to your heart. Just try that for a second. Just leave this place, because that's not the right way of being. It's only an addiction of this world to think. How many of you just think all day?
I have a very chaotic mind.
Yeah.
But train, if any training, see if you can sustain. And when there is more feeling, you can sustain the heart much longer than just the heart, the mind of the heart, this whole thing, When you bring in the will, when you actually will begins to vibrate within you, which is that mother aspect they're talking about, that will sustain and make the heart presence much easier to sustain, like to sustain the Christ consciousness. You can't do it without the mother. There is no Jesus without mother, right?
Right.
So there you have it. So see if we can just come down and see how alive it becomes. It becomes as alive as the mind is when you power the mind. It thinks and thinks and thinks. Suddenly you stop thinking and you are hearting.
Feeling.
Feeling through the heart. Yeah. Which is also no longer a feeling on its own. Like feeling is not just a feeling. It's just feeling is the spirit, the feeling, like at the thought and the feeling, and in the middle is that union of the two. And they're both equal. This is not overpowering this, but sometimes that could be overpowering this. Yeah. So now you have a perfect balance. And when you have it within yourself, you will begin to meet people who have a similar capacity. And then this becomes this. And then it becomes this exquisite, connection that you can't talk when you're there. You just go, oh my God. And then you feel the other person so thoroughly. And they feel you, and you know they're feeling you, and you know you're feeling them. And then you begin to birth the heart. The mind can hardly even enter in there as we know it, mind as we know it at this point. Anyway, that's just my experience so far. And I think it's just, yeah. Yeah. So that feeling aspect, I think that's, Alison, when you have that experience, that is your feeling is showing you something that it hasn't seen before in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it's reminded of something that is very familiar, joyously familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's no thought that goes with it. It's just
Yes.
laughter.
You can't exactly. You can't explain anything in there. Actually,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is nice for me. I like my mind is very chaotic, much less so than it was,
Mhm.
but still it has a hold on me a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, when you have that, check your feelings,
Mm.
but don't look for like
Yeah, I mean, I did check in there,
it's more
and I just
like
had a feeling of
yeah,
light in my head, just light,
yeah,
just
that's it. It's no longer has this earthly program that you receive as a child. You were programmed from the very beginning, say, hey, look at this, it's a spoon. Don't feel your
yeah.
emotions. Look at this and look at the birds. Look at the tree. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. Next minute, you see a whole world of things,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
then you lose that sense of who you are, and we sell ourselves for what we think we see. So we have to die to this to attain a paradise. We die to the old thought system, that thought system that drives us crazy, which I would even say a thought addiction,
Oh, yeah,
thinking addiction.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been taught it.
Yes. So when you're willing to leave it all behind, suddenly you go, oh God, there is a whole different thing going on.
Mm.
And then you have these experiences, and even that you have to get used to it because it's so unfamiliar, very familiar, but so new. And yet it's just remembering the original creation. Anyway, shall we read some more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The the eternal Son is a grand and glorious personality.
Mm-hmm.
Although it is beyond the powers of the mortal and material mind to grasp the actuality of the personality of such an infinite being,
Mm-hmm.
doubt not he is a person. I
Okay.
know whereof I speak.
My mind can't.
I'm
Sorry.
carry on.
Just like, how can it be a person? Ugh, my mind's going, I can't
Yeah.
fathom. Anyway, keep going.
Because it's not a person as we know person.
Oh no.
We have that human
That's right.
human thing that this is a person, body,
Oh,
bone, flesh, and blood.
I
no.
think they've talked a lot about personality,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and personality is given each and every individual who
Mm,
has been created, and each and every individual has been created uniquely, has their own attribute,
exactly,
and the eternal Son is the same as us in that regard. He has his own unique
exactly.
personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
The real
that's why you
personality is when
if
you
you
really connect to that essence of your being, hey?
yeah, if you learn like you can learn to tune into
Mm.
particular personalities, and there are no two alike. They
Yeah.
each have their own um
Essence.
I don't know, vibratory.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like no two are the same. So yeah. Well, in my tiny
Yes.
little experience,
That's it.
I know whereof I speak. Times almost without number I have stood in the divine presence of this eternal Son,
Hmm.
and then journeyed forth in the universe to execute his gracious bidding,
Ah, beautiful. And
indicted by a divine counselor assigned to formulate this statement depicting the eternal Son of Paradise.
divine counselor.
Mm. Wow, beautiful.
Hmm. So, uh-huh. If you look, let me see if I can find it. There's something like right in forward. Um, I can get there. Hmm. Let me just go the forward. It's somewhere there is a um,
Talking about personality realities.
yeah, it has this like a whole step by step, like spirit, mind, and personality. Um, just kept coming to my mind as I hear body, mind, spirit, soul, personality, and then there is another one called Moroncha. So these are the qualities of universal reality. These qualities of universal reality are manifest in Urantian human experience in the following levels. You guys, okay? This is just like a
What
page.
page is this?
It's 05057. So you go to forward, uh, and it's the number is 05.6 or 4.7. I I don't have pages here where I have
Oh, okay.
PDFs.
Personality realities.
Yes,
One body. Is that
yes,
right?
the number five,
Yeah.
personal realities. And when you keep going down to 5.6, body, the material or physical organism of man, the living electrochemical mechanism of animal nature and origin. That's us. Hello. Number two, mind, the thinking, perceiving, and feeling mechanism of the human organism. See, the thinking aspect is overthunk, it's overdone. Yeah, and feeling mechanism is pretty dead in most humans. Even so, they think they feel, they still just think they feel. The real feelings, you can't put the name, you can't put a label on them. Same as you can't put label on that higher thought, you know, that thought that makes you laugh. Number, okay, where was I? So the mind, thinking, perceiving, and feeling mechanism of the human organism, the total conscious and unconscious experience, the intelligence associated with emotional life reaching upwards through worship and wisdom to the spirit level. So that's the mind. Then comes spirit, the divine spirit that indwells the mind of man, the thought adjuster. This immortal spirit is pre-personal, not a personality, though destined to become a part of the personality of the surviving mortal creature. Then comes soul. The soul of man is an experiential, what is it? Can someone pronounce that word?
Requirement.
Acquirement. As a mortal creature chooses to do the will of the Father in heaven, so the indwelling spirit becomes the father of a new reality in human experience. Exactly. Wow, this is really well defined, isn't it? The mortal and material mind is the mother of the same emerging reality. The substance of this new reality is neither material nor spiritual. It is morontial. This is the emerging and immortal soul, which is destined to survive mortal death and begin the paradise ascension. So now we're going to the personality. Anybody wants to read that?
Personality. The personality of mortal man is neither body, mind, nor spirit, neither is it the soul. Personality is the one changeless reality in an otherwise ever-changing creature experience. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And it unifies all other associated factors of individuality. It unifies all other associated factors of individuality.
Wow.
The personality is the unique bestowal which the Universal Father makes upon the living and associated energies of matter, mind, and spirit, and which survives with the survival of the morontial soul.
Yeah. See, that's the at-one-ment, and it unifies all other associated factors of individuality. That's what happens. You just unify yourself within yourself. At-one-ment, you become one. At one with your entire being. And then comes next one. See, we talked about personality a lot. Now comes the next one even after that. Go ahead.
Morontia is a term designating a vast level intervening between the material and the spiritual. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It may designate personal or impersonal realities, living or non-living energies.
Mm-hmm.
The warp of Morontia is spiritual. It's woof. What the hell does that mean? It's woof. It's physical. Woof.
It's like, I think it's to do with weaving. There's the warp and a woof in weaving.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh,
way
okay.
the wove it together.
Oh, okay. The warp of Morontia is spiritual, and so you have the spiritual and you have the physical interwoven.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
So they're both together. Yeah.
I'm glad you knew that, Kim.
I think that's what it is anyway. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
vast level intervening between. See,
So in the next reality where we go, it's still physical then.
It is.
I thought,
It
see,
is
I thought we
physical.
went from spirit, from material to spiritual. That was it. Just,
No, no, no. There is when you leave this like the when they say when you take the last breath here, you through seraphim you are taken to this Morontia, I think, if I remember it correctly. And in there you have a body that's different to this one. However, you will be still recognized as you.
right.
You still have the resemblance because basically they're saying you are going to meet absolutely everyone you ever left behind. That's why the forgiveness is necessary.
Ah,
Because when you get there, you want to be as clean. You want to have everything undone as best as you can.
yeah.
But where I think explain it somewhere in a paper 47 and 8. They describe this whole next world for you. It's like you, yeah, it's very different. There's no sickness, only very mild discomfort, but not sickness as we know it here. There is the energy you take in, it gets completely consumed, so you actually don't have any leftovers to eliminate. And yeah, I can't remember, but there's a whole
Mm.
papers on this
You
whole.
can't remember it all, Cole.
No, not. I do remember it, but not to a point where I could elaborate on it because I wouldn't be absolutely certain.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, because I think some people go and they don't realize they're dead, do they? Because it's much like here.
It's much
Actually,
like yeah, but it's just
yeah.
very different frequential thing.
Mm.
Have
It's
you read this before, Kim?
No, no, just in other things I've read similar descriptions.
Okay.
Like,
but anyway, at least we see now that that was really good actually to read this again. Just that those distinction between body, mind, spirit, soul, then
mm.
personality, and
The
then
spirit and soul are different too. I'll have to have a look at that. I had to do a bathroom break, but
sorry, I thought
yeah,
you
I'll have
were.
a look at that because I've often wondered what the difference between soul and spirit is.
Yeah, it's really beautifully delineated here. What's what?
What page was it on? I'm just
We don't. Anybody
In
got
my,
a page there?
I've got page 8.
Mm.
page 8.
I've got a physical book.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah,
got a physical book too.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Page 8. Oh yeah.
And it's
I can,
under the heading of personality realities.
yeah.
thank
And
you.
bottom
It's under
page.
the chapter 5. No, chapter subtitle. What do you call it?
Um,
Paragraph 5.
it's
Par-
actually in Roman numerals on my copy, so it's V, which is 5.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll look for it when I get home.
That's really good to read that and let it sink in. Because the Course in Miracles does very little on the mind. It just goes quite briefly on the in the
Oh,
clarifications of term. As mind is very like, like what? Whereas this is beautifully, um,
well, he says the soul of man is an experiential acquirement. Well, that's completely different from my understanding.
yeah.
That's amazing.
So the indwelling spirit becomes the father of a new reality in human experience. That's that whole awakening thing, or the what they call the spiritual experience, or I think in these books they call it religious experience, which I find it a bit weird because religion is something that's based on certain belief system, whereas for me that experience was complete delete of of anything I thought I knew.
But I think for a lot of people, they would understand religious experience as meaning something that takes them
Right.
out of the
or,
usual
Gotcha.
or
way of thinking.
being born again.
Yeah.
I'm really interested. The soul can change. Is it like, yeah?
I think your view of soul can change. I think that the
Well, the soul of man is an experiential acquirement. In other words, it is acquired
experience it though.
as you have the experiences, as
Yeah.
you choose the experiences
Yeah.
that take you towards something new,
Yeah.
into something new.
As a mortal creature chooses to do the will of the Father. So when you go, God, into thy hands,
Mm,
the indwelling spirit becomes the Father. Right. So indwelling spirit becomes the Father. See, it's all in you, the Father. Like Neville Goddard really nails this really beautifully. He goes like it's all within you. Becomes the father of a new reality in human experience. The mortal and material mind is the mother of the same emerging reality. The subsequence of this new reality is neither material nor spiritual, it is more morontial. This is the emerging and immortal soul, which is destined to survive mortal death and begin the paradise ascension.
Become a moron.
Yeah. You stop being moron and you turn into moron. So I think it's still pretty thick there, but it's definitely from this point of view, it's like, wow. But it's just the beginning.
We certainly can't think of ourselves as gods, surely. Like that
Say
seems
it
to be
again?
wrong. According to this, we can't really think of ourselves as gods. Like that's a lot of nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah. But godlike qualities where you can also, uh, you know, you either bless or you condemn,
Mm,
you know,
mm,
let there be light, you know. God created God to let there be light, and then there it was, and it was good.
mm,
It wasn't like, oh shit, what did I just make?
mm,
Or like this, Neville says, like God did not wait for someone else to approve of it. He approved of it of itself by himself. Anyway, don't want to mix this up too much. Very good, guys.
mm.
Congratulations. We just finished, completed the paper 6.
You don't want to do the first section in paper 7.
Definitely. Let's do it.
Awesome. Who wants to read?
Oh,
Kevin.
I'd be happy to, but anyone else can.
You can read, Alison.
Hmm?
You can read. Yeah, go ahead, Alison.
Okay. Relation of the eternal Son to the universe. The original Son is ever concerned with the execution of the spiritual aspects
Off she goes.
someone else read.
The original Son is ever concerned with the execution of the spiritual aspects of the Father's eternal purpose as it progressively unfolds in the phenomena of the evolving universes with their manifold groups of living beings. We do not fully comprehend this eternal plan, but the Paradise Son undoubtedly does.
Wow.
The Son is like the Father in that he seeks to bestow everything possible of himself upon his coordinate sons and upon their subordinate sons.
Wow.
And the Son shares the Father's self-distributive nature in the unstinted bestowal of himself upon the infinite Spirit, their conjoint executive. As the upholder of spirit realities, the second source and centre is the eternal counterpoise of the Isle of Paradise, which so magnificently upholds all things material. Thus is the first source and centre forever revealed in the material beauty of the exquisite patterns of the central isle, and in the spiritual values of the supernal personality of the eternal Son. The eternal Son is the actual upholder of the vast creation of spirit realities and spiritual beings. The spirit world is the habit, personal conduct of the Son, and the impersonal realities of spirit nature are always responsive to the will and purpose of the perfect personality of the absolute Son. The Son is not, however, personally responsible for the conduct of all spirit personalities. The will of the personal creature is relatively free and hence determines the actions of such volitional beings. Therefore, the free will spirit world is not always truly representative of the character of the eternal Son, even as nature on Urantia is not truly revelatory of the perfection and immutability of paradise and deity. But no matter what may characterize the free will action of man or angel, the Son's eternal grasp of the universal gravity control of all spirit realities continues as absolute.
I think I'm overcooked.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I think that previous chapter was pretty potent as it was.
Yeah. I have no idea what was just said.
Yes, same here. It was like,
I
whoa,
tried. I
was on
tried
top of
to.
it all.
I'll go back through it though.
Now, well, the read.
Yeah, last week I was so inspired to read afterwards, and I went and stayed at a cabin with my daughter, and I lost my reading glasses, and so I was unable to do anything. I had no internet.
Mm.
I was a little bit, I felt like I was missing out because I really wanted to read. Anyway,
Was sorted out
it's
for
all
you.
good.
Yes. Beautiful, guys. That was amazing.
Mm.
What an incredible endeavor this is.
It is remarkable.
Absolutely incredible,
Mm. I feel like it's a textbook to, it's what you say, Cole.
huh? Hmm.
It's the Bible of the new millennium. It really
Absolutely.
is. It's a textbook we have to use if we want to understand anything.
Mm, definitely.
It's definitely shaped my path, this book. Like changed it a bit,
Mm-hmm.
quite profoundly, but quite subtly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in a good way. Anyways, thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thanks.
you very much.
Guys, really beautiful.
Mm,
Mm.
Thanks for sticking with it. It's not an easy journey, but
no.
definitely it all sinks in some way.
I do feel like, even in spite of my mind's inability to grasp a lot of it, somehow there
Mm,
are pieces I'm beginning to understand a bit better.
Mm,
That somehow it is coming together.
mm-mm.
Is there a Monday evening group, Kevin?
Yes, it's a Dutch group. It's sort of half Australian, half Dutch. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
Myra.
So,
I don't know if you know Myra. She takes it. They're reading
okay.
just parts of the text or whatever she wants to talk about.
Is Kate still running any groups?
She's having a break at the moment.
Okay.
She does the Mondays at 11 if she comes back, or when the daylight saving change, it'll be 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Monday.
10
And Myra's on
a.m.
at 8, 8. I think it's
When
still
are we
8.
changing time?
A couple of weeks, first Sunday in April 6th or something.
Mm-hmm.
But Europe's changing on the 31st.
Mm-mm. Yes. Actually, on that day, I'm going to be doing a Zoom call for Slovakians, so I might need to connect with you to reset that thing so I can record it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if they don't answer, just give me a call because I don't always notice the messages.
Yeah, no, we will just line up and do it.
Do
Alright.
you have any
Alison,
idea about New Zealand?
I was just going to ask you, Alison, do you know where New Zealand is?
No, I haven't heard anything,
Sometimes
but
it's the same as us and sometimes it's a week apart. So I'll have a look later and see.
work it out. I'll check it.
Beautiful.
I'll check it now, actually. I'll just,
Lovely, guys. So lovely.
yeah, thank
mm,
you.
Hmm.
Um,
I'll just turn off the recording.